Hi, this is Jacques Taylor, and you're listening to Jacques Talk. This is a podcast where I talk about the Cowboys, the team I've covered as a beat writer, columnist, TV insider, and radio host for 28 years. I'll also talk about the NFL and the things I love, working out, streaming, food, and all things down. Welcome to Jacques Talk, where sports is fluid. What's true today might not be true an hour, a day, or a month from now. I'm going to give you the truth straight, no chaser. Glad to have you aboard. Let's get it. Welcome to episode 58 of Jacques Talk. I'm Jacques Taylor, joined by my boy Big Joe in the Big Rig. I hope you're prepared to be entertained and dazzled for the next hour or so as we go through. I was trying to figure out what order I was going to tell y'all. As we go through the Cowboys press conference with Mike McCarthy. Yes, he's staying. Some of y'all are still coming to grips with that. Talked to my man Newy Scruggs, my Channel 5 counterpart, about Cowboys culture, because we kind of had a little chit-chat about it the other day that I found interesting. I thought you would too. And then one of the Big Joe and the Big Rig's favorite topics, in-school suspension and all the things I like to drink out of. You can take that where you want to.
Yay!
First though, that caused for you to interrupt me, dog?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I can't wait.
That pulls you out the chair right there.
Yeah, I can't wait.
First off, we got to tell you, if you're ever involved in an accident, you've been injured and it's not your fault, what you got to do, what you need to do is call my friends at Greening Law. I mean, really, you do. And you're in trouble if you don't have the phone number already in your phone, 972-934-8900. Because here's the deal. If you're involved in an accident, and, you know, most of the time we're talking about a trucking accident, a car accident, but it could also be medical malpractice or property accidents, a defective product that resulted in your injury, birth injuries, any of that stuff where you've been injured by somebody else's negligence. Here's what you do. Seriously. Pick up the phone, dial 972-934-8900, and say, here's my situation, what do you think? Literally, that's all that's required. And once you tell them your deal, if they bring you on as a client, it's been a great day for you. Real talk. Because they will walk you through what can be a very long, intimidating process. It can be traumatic to some people. It can be scary because you're going up against somebody else's insurance company. But they walk you through it. And by walking you through it, I mean they walk you through it. They tell you when to turn left and when to turn right, maybe when to hold tight for a minute, when to walk forward, when to walk fast. Let's pick up the pace. Why? Because they want you focused on two things and two things only: healing and renewal. Get your mind right, get your body back right, get your life back. That's really what it's all about. Now, understand this. They don't get paid unless you get paid. What's a better deal than that? So you ain't never got to worry about whether they working for you, they grinding for you, where you are on the priority list. You're at the top. You need a doctor? They hook you up with a doctor. You need a specialist. You got something extra going on. They hook you up with a specialist. They'll find these doctors for you, recommend them to you. All you got to do is show up for the appointment. Why? They want you focused on two things and two things only: healing and renewal. Get your body back, get your mind back, get your life back. It's really that simple. So give them a call, 972-934-8900. Let Greening Law go to work for you. Dog. Newy Scruggs, many of y'all know, one of my good friends. I do a lot of worked with him. He was my boss for a little while, so to speak, when I was a NBC insider on Channel 5. It taught me a lot about TV business. Well, we're good friends. I show up on Channel 5 now on Sunday nights after Cowboy games several times a season. And I thought, because we had a really good conversation about the Cowboys the other day, I should bring y'all in on the conversation. So let's give my man Newy Scruggs, sports director at Channel 5, a call and see what he's got to say. And today, he's brought to you by Smokey John's Barbecue, 1820 West Mockingbird.
Hello.
Newy, Jacques Taylor. What's up, bro?
All good, man. All good. Ready to roll, man.
Yeah, glad to have you on. I got Big Joe the Big Rig here. I've already told the folks a little bit about what we talked about, but I thought you were a good person to ask because you look at things, now that you got an MBA from TCU, in a whole different way. A lot of conversation about the Cowboys' disappointing season. Yeah, 12-5 ended up disappointing. Has been about their culture. What do you think about the culture that they have and why Jerry decided to bring back Mike McCarthy for year 5?
If we go back and we think about Jerry, he's not, let's say, David Tepper, the Carolina Panthers, where he just fires people and just says, boom, I'm mad, and makes a rash decision. People who are upset about Mike McCarthy coming back after 3 straight 12-win seasons, something that no Cowboys coach has ever done 3 straight years in a row, winning 12 games, is go out and make a rash decision. Jason Garrett got to stay here for a decade and did far less in terms of accomplishment and building consistency than Mike McCarthy. So while Jerry's put out the signals about game-by-game basis, when push comes to shove, he usually will stick with what's there. He does find change hard, especially with coaches and top players. Jacques, you and I were around forever today. How long did Flozo Adams stay at left tackle? And people are like, wait, he's jumping off sides. You got this, you got that. He doesn't move on for people very much. You know, when we look at it, well, why did this guy get one more contract that he shouldn't have? You know, Nate Newton, God bless him, we love him. Moose Johnson, same thing. These guys had one contract too many here. And you're like, should you be doing that? But his modus of operandi has been more to stick with something than change it.
Well, why do you think he got this reputation for being so impulsive? Is it all stem back to Jimmy?
People have not forgiven him about Jimmy. I think people also, as well as in perception and reality, a lot of times is different for folks. And I think the perception of Jerry, having a big ego and making these moves is different from the reality that, because you and I are sitting there watching it all the time, we understand. I mean, after the statement came out last night that Mike McCarthy was coming back and Jerry said what he said, for people who've covered the team, you're like, okay, yeah, this sounds about like Jerry. And the fan base was all mad, and but they're the same irrational folks who are like, well, okay, fine, then get rid of Dak or trade Dak, and it's this is the fan base of frustration for 27, 28 years now, and where they are with Jerry as he runs the team.
So what are you when you bring back Mike McCarthy? Obviously, you got to bring back Dak Prescott, given his contract. If Dan Quinn doesn't get a head coaching job, he can come back too. How do you sell that to the fan base? What are you selling them? Because they've seen his dance.
You sold them Jason Garrett for 10 years, and you know what? We didn't see the stadium half empty. We didn't see them have to come out with a family 4-pack special like they did during the Campo years, where you get the 4 hot dogs, 4 Pepsis. They're gonna be fine. So the fan base can sit up here today and say, "I don't like it. I'm not there." Blah blah blah. But they're the same people who are gonna come around and get on that hopium after the NBC game they play on Sunday night in either week 1 or week 2. They're going to be back on that hopium and talk about we them boys, and they're going to buy into it again and again. So I don't want to hear this.
I like that.
You can sell the fans.
Hopium.
You can sell the fans the same old thing. Yeah, they're going to be Pookie out there. Be calling, man. Be calling. Texas Live is still going to be full of fans. So this whole premise, like, oh my gosh, I may not get any fans back. Stop it. Just stop it. They're going to come. I mean, just stop. Selling the fan base. That man just goes, here's the team.
You'd have brought Hopium and Pookie to the show.
Hopium. I like that. Hopium.
That's right. Shoot them veins up. Yeah. Tap them. Pull that band tight. Get that Hopium. Make it go straight to your bloodstream.
We them boys. Give it to me. Then they taking that shot. And they'll be right back on that train one more time.
Okay, that's the fan base. What about the team you think will change from this year to next year?
Well, they cannot keep this whole charade that they have a defensive line that can stop the run going. And we like our guys. I'm sorry. God bless Jonathan Hankins, also Odigizua, but that, this is not cutting it. Mozzie Smith has been a major disappointment. They have to go out here and get some real reinforcements and stop the run. Football is about the trenches. Okay, they're not good there, so They have to address that. And then the other side, You have to look at your offensive line. Tyler Biadasz, your center, is going to be a free agent. And like any free agent who works for Jerry Jones, they come and trying to get a bag. I wouldn't pay him. Like him personally, but I wouldn't pay him. So you need to fortify your offensive line. Tyron Smith's a free agent. How do you go out that contract? And then you need to get a running game that works. God bless Tony Pollard. I'm not blaming Tony Pollard. I'm blaming management, where it goes to Jerry, who's the general manager and the owner, for not listening to running back coach Skip Peete, who said Tony Pollard operates best in a tandem situation. You got rid of Zeke, that's fine, but his replacements, they weren't better than him. So Tony Pollard, when asked to be a number one lead dog, was put into a role that he can't do. That's not who he is. So they have to be better to me in those areas, and that starts first with not lying to yourself, which we've seen them do before, like last year.
Right.
This past season, but the season before, when they're going to roll out there to we like our guys, we got James Washington. Stop this. and we go out there hoping Michael Gallup comes back, and by week 3 he should be okay. Well, he wasn't okay. That was a miscalculation on their part. They made the change this year in the receiving core, but to me, it's the fortifying the lines and getting yourself a running game and being able to, how many times a week watch them not convert inside the 5? Yeah, it was a problem. When Zeke leaving was a problem. You did not address it. So they've got to go fix that, in my opinion.
All right. Elephant in the room is the quarterback. What do you do with the quarterback?
Well, first off, the quarterback has leverage. And why does the quarterback have leverage? Because the Joneses gave it to him. So let's make sure we put that out there. When they could have got Dak on the contract of Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, they didn't do it. So this is their problem. You can't trade him. Now, it's a $61 million cap hit. Joe Fan out there thinks that's fine. Just go ahead and do that. No. You're not going to do that because they're trying to win. He's 81 years old. He's not trying to rebuild. So take that out the window. Right. He's got a $59 million cap. They have to extend him, and then because that's the only way to get other players like a CeeDee Lamb re-signed and to sign other players. So you're going to extend the quarterback. You lower the number, and Mike McCarthy at his press conference today said he believes number 4 is there. That he wants him to be there, and he thinks he is the answer for them to win. So, okay, bring him back, get him some help, get him a better offensive line. When we looked at Tony Romo and saw what was Tony's best year, it was the year that they ran the ball and DeMarco Murray was the offensive player of the year. I believe they need to try to go in a formula similarly to that, is limit the number of times Dak is throwing the ball. Not that he's not a good quarterback. You led the league in terms of touchdown passes, but how do you make him a more effective quarterback? I believe it is with a running game. And if they do that, then I think they have an opportunity, in my opinion, to go to be a better team in the playoffs, because a run game travels. Okay, if you were in Buffalo with a run game, you know what? Maybe it's different because the run game travels. That's what we look at the 49ers. What do you like about it? They got a run game. In that run game and a good offensive line, you can take to any building in the
NFL. That's one aspect of it. What about the mental game? I was talking to some guys today, some reporters today, who were like, love Dak. Is he mentally strong enough to get over all that comes with being the Cowboys quarterback? And this came up. Why? Because he talked about after the game, he raised the issue of the game moving too fast for him and him not settling down until it was too late.
Man, if there was ever a person I would seek out, if I was Dak Prescott, it would be Dirk Nowitzki. Because we used to ask those questions about Dirk.
I asked it and got ripped for it.
Was he, European guy? Can a European guy get it? How does he get tougher? What does he need to do? I mean, we asked those questions to Dirk Nowitzki, and Dirk had to work on it. And eventually he got it. And it was a little bit later in his career, but he did get it. So to me, there's a conversation, a lunch conversation, maybe even a doggone weekend where, okay, help me unlock this next level of what I do. Because when Dirk did that, Yeah, we now we see the legend. We see what he was. Some people believe that you're either born with it or you're not, or as Parcells used to say, if they don't bite when they're puppies, they ain't biting when they're dogs. This mental aspect's a little bit different. And I'll tell you another person I would have a conversation with, Scottie Pippen.
Who that?
We spent
Scotty. I don't know about Scotty, man.
Well, I'll say this: we spent the early parts of him and the disappointments to the Pistons, and Scotty was a mental midget. He wasn't where he needed to be, but he eventually got there,
right?
And he became an integral part of 6 world championships. So, this is something that, in my opinion, you go out and you talk to people who have an understanding of what it is to win in this industry. I mean, remember for years they used to say Steve Young can't get it done. Steve Young, not Joe.
John Elway.
Well, here's the difference on John. John single-handedly took the Broncos to 3 Super Bowls, and he lost them, but it was John. When they got Terrell Davis and they got a running game, and Shanahan got some better defense, then they were able to win the championships. But John was getting them there. I mean, he was the horse. I lived up in Cleveland, and believe me, the way they used to curse about that man and how he went 98 yards on him, and it was in their nightmares. So John was a one-man gang and needed some help, and they figured out how to help him. And I look at a guy like Dan Marino, who Dan never really bought into the running game, and whereas his career he never got back. Meanwhile, John was able to get the 2. But I just think that's at this point in time, that's what you do. Go find some people who have the experience of figuring out how do I break through and get to that next level, and what do I need to change? That's clearly something has to change, and I don't know how he unlocks that.
Now, I'm interested in this from both of you guys in different aspects. How have you handled pressure in your career, Newy? Whether it was trying to get on TV or dealing with ratings, any of that kind of stuff.
One, you got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in you, then nobody else is going to believe in you. So I think you believe in you, and then the other part is, and I do believe in what Nick Saban talks about as a process. There's a process. What is the goal? Identify the goal. What are the steps you need to take the goal? And then are you willing to take all the steps to keep working on it over and over again? And I think when we talk about Dak, who's got that master's degree in leadership and people, he's got a lot of the pieces. It's just this part that he's got that block. And I talked to that Michigan mental coach. He wrote the book, Greg. I can't remember Greg's last name, but anyway, Greg's really, really good. And he worked with Michael Phelps. He worked with Tom Brady. He worked with Desmond Howard. He was working with their quarterback this year, J.J. McCarthy. And one of the things he always talks about is, control the controllables, which I hear Dak always say. But a lot of that is within you, and that's what that was my processes of being able to handle the pressure.
How about you, Joe?
Well, in the military, it's more of learning your job, and then learning who knows their job, and recognizing the people around you, who you have to help, who you can trust. A lot of that eases the pressure in the military. Same thing playing ball, or when I was driving a truck, same thing. If you know what the guy next to you is capable of, it take a lot of pressure off you, because you know what you have to do. If that makes sense.
Joe, what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Army. I was recon in the Army.
Yeah, my dad was in the military. Our 82nd Airborne, 1st Cavalry, the Rangers, all that.
Yeah, I was 1st Cav.
Yeah, man. So that type of discipline, and once again the belief, because they try to make you quit. They try to test you when you get in units like that. Well, there's a lot of pressure.
You just have to be, being confident in the guy next to you. Being, like you said, being confident in yourself, and then being confident in the guy next to you. Because they always talk about fighting for the flag and the country and all. You ain't doing that. You fighting for the guy. You fighting for the guy next to you, so y'all can go home. And that's some pressure you learn to deal with.
Right. No doubt. For me, I'm kind of like Newy. The times I felt real pressure in my career, it was always attack it and embrace it first and not run from it, and then attack it and figure out how to beat it. And then once you figure out how to beat it, you know, really focus and hone in on that one particular thing. And what it was for me was very early in my career, I was told, if you don't start breaking stories, we're just going to have to take you off the beat because the news breaking beat. And at that point, I was only 2 years in it. And so I was like, I don't really know how to break stories. And I would call my friends in the media, hey, dog, how you break stories? Well, you just got to work hard. Dog, I'm working hard. I ain't breaking them. And finally, one day, I just decided the one thing I could do is I can get all these cats who don't talk. A lot of them on the Cowboys at the time, Eric Williams, Charles Haley, Leon. Maybe I can get them to talk to me, and that create value for me and give me something I can do that nobody else can do. And it took a period of time, but I finally was able to do that. And that was my way of kind of attacking pressure and finding the niche and going forward. And so when I look at Dak, I'm like, first you got to embrace the pressure, whether it's the pressure that you put on yourself to perform or whether it's the pressure of organizational failures. I'm using air quotes for 28 years. You got to embrace it and attack it. And then I think it's like Joe said, you got to trust your guys to walk you through it, or at least a few of them, so that you don't feel like you got to do it all yourself, you know?
Or as Marcus Aurelius said,
we went deep on that.
What stands in the way becomes the way.
Well, in the cab, we used to call it embracing the suck. It's going to suck, but you need to embrace it.
Yeah.
You know? Right. Let's do the same thing. What stands in the way becomes the way.
Yeah. Like you say, they try to make you quit. I used to feel like this. I'm not quitting nothing. You can't do this to me all day. So it really wasn't no pressure to go through school because you ain't going to, you got to stop sometime. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to kill me. I ain't going to quit. So let's get over with. But anyway.
Did you watch the news conference today? Newy?
I actually listened to it on my way to the doctor's appointment. And look, Mike McCarthy is no shrinking violet. You know, if you wanted him to cower and just say, "Oh my gosh, I'm just so happy to be back." Now this man talking about we got a championship program. We won a world championship. Yep, we got a championship program. So okay, fine. Go ahead, put yourself out there like that. Now go back it up. You know, I'd rather have that than a guy say, "Well, I hope maybe we can." He's like, "No, we're gonna do it. We'll break through." Okay, go do it.
No, it's good. And so I thought he handled it well. I mean, he handled it as well as he could handle it. And so now it's about to work, and we'll see what gets done because the schedule gets a little harder on paper next year. They're going to deal with a fan base that's not really – I mean, if you thought people didn't care about the regular season this year, they're really not going to care about it next year. And
no, he'll get no credit. He'll get no credits for the regular season. They can win the NFC East again and be the first team to do that in 20 years, and they'll get no credit because people are simply going to say, okay, show me what you do in the playoffs. But I go back to this year. I go back to 2007 after the Cowboys went 13-3 and they let everybody down, and the team talked about, you know, the Super Bowl was going to be the next year in Tampa. We did a TV special on Channel 5 called Tampa Bay or Bust. And they talked all about, you know, we want to get back here to the playoffs and we want to show that they didn't get back to the playoffs. So
right.
We can, fans and media can sit up here and talk about playoffs. But if you're Mike McCarthy, guys, we're starting here from the ground zero, and we got to work our way back to earn the opportunity to get the playoffs and play.
And I don't know if people really truly understand. That's the hardest part, man, is that you got to go through the monotony of the season, but you got to play with it at such a level that you get back to the playoffs so that you can have an opportunity at redemption. And you know, the season is long and hard and arduous, and you're like, damn, we just want the playoffs. But if you don't handle business during the season, there won't be no redemption opportunity because it will have gone by. So tough thing for them, man.
Steve Young put it to a way that I finally understood, because we always hear coaches say, well, you know, next year is different, And Steve Young compared it to climbing Mount Everest. That if you try to climb and you fail, that okay, you got to go all the way back down the mountain. And that whole month it takes, 5 weeks to get up there, all that, you have to restart it all over again. And it's hard. And there's no guarantee that you even get past where, you know, get up to the point where you were at before, much less plant your flag. It's that hard. And as I've read through the years, you talk about one of the most physical, toughest things to do in life is climb Mount Everest. It's a challenge, and that's what it is in the NFL. So fans are going to be sitting up here talking about, you ain't playing your flag, you ain't playing your flag. Can you even get yourself back up this mountain? one more time to do it. And that to me is the key. And that is where I think a Mike McCarthy can help you, because he has an understanding of that and can keep them focused about that process, because it's so hard to do.
Well, let's see. It's going to be nobody expected the season to end when it did, man. So we're all still kind of numb to it. But, the journey shall begin in a week or two when they go to the Senior Bowl and start looking at players for next year. Hopefully they'll get a better turn. Huh?
Whatever, man. It's baseball town, man. Baseball town. We got spring training here. Spring training in there, okay? Next, less than a month for spring training, baby. Let's talk about that team. Then you got the Renegades. The XFL champion Renegades about to open up here, too. So we got champions in Arlington, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go on with that. It is baseball time now. Pitchers and catchers 2 weeks from now in Surprise, Arizona with the world champion Texas Rangers. New Dog, I appreciate you, man, for making your maiden voyage on Jacques Talk.
I appreciate it anytime.
All right, brother. Later.
Okay, bye.
All right. That's Newy Scruggs, brought to you today by good friends at Smokey John's Barbecue, where Aunt Minnie and Joe will one day soon pick up the Jam Session Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all heard that? It's coming.
Yeah.
Jam Session Bowl. It's a bowl with mac and cheese base or mashed potato base. And your choice out of 2 out of 5 smoked meats. Joe swears he's going with double brisket. What do you think Aunt Minnie wants on hers, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. She probably won't. I'm going to have to ask her, man.
Yeah, ask her that. Now, I usually rock with the brisket and the sausage. And then all the stuff you find on loaded baked potato, chives and bacon bits and cheese and sour cream and butter, all that stuff, man. They put it on there. Then you want to drizzle it with sauce or you want to drench it with sauce. Your choice. Just remember, it's on the secret menu. You go up there looking for it, you can't find it. You can only know if you listen to the show and you ask. And then people be like, what the hell is a Jam Session? Well, where is it? Those who know. Those who don't. So you're part of the in crowd if you know all about the Jam Session Bowl. How about that? Now, if you need some Smokey John's every day or a little more frequently, you can always go to the website, SmokeyJohns.com, click on the SJ Marketplace. Click on the Marketplace, and then guess what? You can order the sauce. Matt McLaren used to drink that thing out the jug. No cap. Or you can order the rub. I personally use it on popcorn from time to time. In addition to some chicken and steak, it goes with everything. If you need it more quicker than that, you can literally go to H-E-B and pick up the rub. Literally. You can go to out there in Burleson where Joe's at, nearby. You go to Allen, Frisco, McKinney, Waxahachie, H-E-B. You go out to San Antonio H-E-B and pick it up. They statewide these days, baby. But that's where you pick up all the Smokey John's rub. Smokey John's, 1820 West Mockingbird. It is food to live for. You need it in your mouth. That's how good it is. It's like a chef's kiss. Fantastic. On that note, bro, I know you've been waiting for this quick trip around the block, but let's go around the block. This is quickly becoming Joe's favorite segment.
Why you?
And that's
really?
And that's because
no,
and that's because he likes to mock the topics.
No,
and that's okay.
My favorite segment is Whispers from the Star.
I know, man, but this is moving up the list.
No, it's not. Go ahead.
Before we get into in-school suspension, which we talked a little bit about last week, but I wanted to tell y'all this story. I don't know about, do you have a favorite drinking mug, man, that you drink your Kool-Aid out of or your water out of or whatever?
If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, I drink out of something that holds liquid.
Anything? You don't care?
No, not really, no.
Well, most of the time I'm like that, but I don't know, man. I can't even tell you where this came from. Well, I mean, I can. I was at a restaurant. Well, I like to drink out of different things. I can't even lie to y'all. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you probably saw me drinking some Zip Fizz, which is a little energy drink, and some water out of a mason jar. And I just like, there's something about drinking out of a mason jar that just make me feel good, man. And I went to a restaurant about a month ago, and I had some water in a mason jar, and I said, know what? I remember I like to drink. My mom used to have mason jars around the house. She used to drink out of them. I said, daggone it, I'm finna go find me some mason jars. I'm finna go buy 4 or 6 of them, and I'm finna drink out of them. And every time I drank out of them, man.
I see you back home Tennessee or something.
Boy, you went way back there. But let me tell you this funny story, dog. This was a couple years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I went to a fancy schmancy restaurant, and they served the water out of a colored. It was a clear bottle with like a flip top on it. It was a glass bottle and had like a flip top on it to hold. I forget how you describe it. But I was like, that bottle is so cool. You know, it's like people who like different shape, people who collect liquor bottles because they like the shape of them. Maybe I got that kind of problem. But the bottle was so cool, man, that you know what I did, dog. You know, I came home, I got on my phone, and I looked up glass water bottles. And I looked up for some, and some were basic. Oh, it's called the flip top glass bottle. And I'm gonna send you a picture so you know what I'm talking about.
That's okay. You don't have to send it.
Nah, dog.
It's okay. It's okay.
Don't worry about it. I want you to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I liked it, and so. But you know, I'm also a color guy. I like colors. Like you know, in my house it had orange wall. I've had a fuchsia room. My bedroom was orange at one time. So I like colors. So I ordered some colored bottles. A couple of them were red, a couple of them were blue.
Did you say fuchsia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Oh, I remember one of my soldiers, his name was Alexander. And we was getting dressed in the morning in the barracks, and he had some pink drawers on. I said, man, are your drawers pink? He said, no, they're fuchsia. All right,
like, fuchsia's a shade of pink.
Roger that.
So he told the truth, but he kind of lied.
He was a good soldier. You can't tell with his pants on whether he got pink drawers on or not. It's all
right.
Yeah. Never looked at him the same. And he ran off with somebody's wife, so he, you know.
Hey.
I'm just saying.
That was just a deflection.
We thought he was one way, but he was the other. He was really not. But all right.
So I ordered these bottles, man, and I started drinking water out of these glass bottles, and that too made me happy. But guess what made me the happiest, man? Guess what I saw about a week ago? My 8-year-old grandson walking around with a full water bottle with one of my colored flip-top water bottles, drinking out of it, talking about, I like these bottles, they cool, Papa. And that's what I drink my water out of. Can I tell you, that just warmed my heart, man?
Yep.
It be the little things, man. It be the little things that bring you joy in life. Yep. So I like drinking out of mason jars and glass water bottles. Now, I also know people who like to drink out of those big plastic 32-ounce cups, like you get at QT or 7-Eleven or something. But it's amazing the number of people that have their favorite cup that they like to drink out of. I don't know why. It just reminded me of that. Now, let's move on. Unless you want to talk some more about drinking bottles and glasses.
No, I'm good.
The next question of the day before we move on to Mike McCarthy's press conference. Have you ever been in in-house suspension, in-school suspension, ISS?
No, my mom kind of took care of that. Probably about the 5th grade. She probably took care of all that.
Meaning the ramifications of acting up at school was so bad that you just gave up that life?
Yeah, pretty much. I acted a fool one day, and I thought I got away with it. And the teacher came to gym class, pulled me out of gym class. And her name was Miss Graham, and she looked like Kate Jackson from Charlie's Angels, but that's a whole nother thing. But she pulled me out of class, and I walk in there, and my mom's sitting in class, and she already got the tissue. She crying, right? So,
oh, no, mama not crying.
Yeah, so I sit down, and she tends to rip me, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and the teacher's like, look, Miss Armfield, you need to calm down. She goes, no, I'll get to you in a second. So she ripped me, Then she ripped the teacher. Now me and the teacher are pushing a box of Kleenex between each other.
Right.
We crying. She ain't crying no more. So after that, me and Miss Burke, the teacher's name was Miss Burke, me and Miss Burke decided to make a deal. You don't act the fool and I won't call your mama and we won't get in trouble. And there it is right there. So all of that old in-school stuff, no. I was done with that about the 5th grade because I ain't got time for that. And it's not cool with girls if your mama up there cussing you out. So
No. Well, I was only in school suspension one time because I was not a guy who created a lot of drama in class. I like to talk, but I was not a guy who got in trouble very often. But it started in the 6th grade, man. Our class went on this trip. I went to Maynard Jackson Elementary. It used to be across the street from A. Maceo Smith in Oak Cliff. My teacher, Miss Lee, was really good friends with Miss Glover, who had a talented and gifted class at Claire Oliver, which is about 2 blocks from South Oak Cliff High School. And so they decided we're going to take our classes on a trip to Houston to see NASA and go to Astro World. It was a great trip. We're in the 6th grade. And so when you make a school trip like that in the 6th grade, most of the guys get with most of the girls. Hey, you gonna be my girl on this trip. Yeah, I'm gonna be your girl on this trip. You give me a chance? That's what we used to say back then. So, you know me, I got the baddie, the hottest of the hottest.
I didn't know that. I would have never guessed that.
Shut up, man.
I don't know that.
Young lady named Gwen.
I don't believe you.
We are still friends to this day. Yeah. She married to the Dallas Constable.
Send me a picture.
My man named Ed Wright.
I don't want no picture of the bottle. Send me a picture of her.
She's still cute. She's still my homegirl.
Okay.
She became a star basketball player in North Texas back in the day. But anyway, so we on the way back from the trip. Everybody who knows me was going to laugh right about now. I ain't changed. What do I do on the way back from the trip? I fall asleep. Now, on the way to Houston, I said, hey, we just hit the city street. We just hit the, city limits. I done went to sleep. And I didn't know nothing because I woke up when we back in Dallas. Next Monday at school, my friends, hey, man, why you go to sleep? We back in the back playing Truth or Dare. I said, y'all playing Truth or Dare? Yeah, man. Gwen and your boy Mark Walker was kissing. My girl was kissing Mark Walker. Now here go the problem. Mark Walker, he had a silver tooth in the front. A little slim dude with a big mouth. One of the dudes who used to win the oratory contest. Well, it's all over. I ain't got no car. Mark Walker in the 6th grade. I'm in the 6th grade. We go to different schools. Guess what happened, dog? All of us showed up in the academy at Holmes in the 7th grade. Hey, dog. So I don't like him from the jump. Make a long story short, me and Mark Walker get into a fight. We get into a fight on the playground, playing basketball. I see him, he see me, we start scrapping. Okay, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm whooping his ass. But I got these glasses on, all right? I'll never forget this, dog. My glasses come off in the fight. And it was like slow motion. The glasses on the ground. I look at the glasses. Mark looks at the glasses. And it's a race to get to the glasses. Well, he was smaller than me. He was faster than me. He beat me to the glasses, put his foot on them, and pulled it back and just scratched both lenses. So now I'm like, I don't care that he messed up my glasses. I'm more concerned about, I'm about to get the Wanda K treatment at my house because my glasses broke. Now my mama got to pay some money for them. But I couldn't get to him because somebody broke up the fight. Teachers broke up the fight. But we ride the bus together. I attack him on the bus, dog. Whoop his ass on the bus. He gets put off. And I think everything's good. I'm the conquering hero. Whooped his ass, got my vengeance. Next day, ride the bus to school, no incidents. Get to school, I hear my name over the loudspeaker. Gene Taylor. You know I was mad about that. Please report to the office. I go to the office. I've been assessed 2 days of in-house suspension for my crime against Mark Walker. Mark Walker don't have to go to in-house because I started the fight on the bus. So I showed up in in-house suspension the next day, dog. And this is really what happened, man. The guy who ran in-house suspension, you got to picture this, man. He was about 5'9", 5'8", about 230 pounds, barrel-chested, heavily muscled, with a jerry curl that left him with a long jerry curl past his shoulders. And his nickname was Chop Chop. I can't even remember his name. Students just used to call him Chop Chop. And so I walked into class. There was about 15, 20 kids in there. And the first thing he says to me is, what's your name? I tell him, Jacques Taylor. Okay, you got 2 days. The way we start the class, for those people the first day, assume the push-up position and hold it the length of the first period. I think he probably gave me relief at about 20 minutes. But by then, my shoulders are sore, and I'm like, this is going to be terrible. So then he's like, I'm going to get your licks at the end of the day, son. We'll see. Maybe you get some of them taken off if you behave the rest of the day. So then we got to go to a different lunch period, man. And after lunch, he says, okay, let's go. I'm thinking we about to line up to go back to the classroom. Nah, bruh. You know what he says? Everybody outside on the track. Y'all finna run laps. So we running laps, dog. I ain't in shape to run no laps. You got to run 4 laps. That's a mile. I'm not in shape to do that. After you run 4 laps, you can stop running after you win a race. Dude, there's like 15 people out there. So needless to say, I was down about the last 5 or 6 people. And then I finally figured out, I think I can win this lap. I can win this race, this lap. And dog, it was neck and neck. If I tell you I elbowed this dude and hit him in the chest, I elbowed this dude and hit him in the chest. Slowed him down, won the race. And we finished that. And then we went back to the classroom, man. The rest of the day was fairly uneventful. But my shoulders were sore. My pride was hurt. I ended up getting 5 licks at the end of the day, so my ass was sore.
Damn.
Dog, I'm not making this up. I'm exhausted from the racing because I ain't in shape to do no racing. I'm a fat little 7th grader. And that's when I went home, got home, called my mama at work. I remember the number, 214-824-1600, I believe. Dallas Independent School District building. Dialed her extension. Hello? Hey, Mom. Hey, how are you?
Really?
I'm not going back to in-house suspension no more. Say what? I'm not. You can do what you have to do. I'm not going back tomorrow. I'm just not going back. Jacques, we'll talk about this when we get home. Mom, I'm not going back. You could ground me for a month. I'm not going back. Goodbye. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, goodbye. So we got home. Jacques, let's talk about it. I said, I'm not going back. So whatever punishment you give me, I'm just going to take it. I'm not going back. That man had us do push-ups. We had us out there running. I mean, it was torture. It was terrible. I'm not going back. And so I didn't go back. And I told y'all we had 13 pecan trees in the back. Had to rake all the leaves and do a bunch of other chores. I did not care. Wasn't going back. And that was the precise moment that I determined that there was no longer any need for me to fight because the consequences were too dire. So I suppose in-house suspension served its purpose and put me on the straight and narrow for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it ain't supposed to be fun.
Well, dog, wasn't nothing fun about it, man. It was terrible. That's why I can remember it so vividly 40 years later.
Gotcha.
Now, let's move on to more exciting things like Mike McCarthy's press conference. Let's start with this, dog. What was your thought when you heard McCarthy was coming back?
I was wondering how's he gonna talk to us and make us buy into make us believe him, make us believe something would be different. I mean, what choice do I have? I'm a Cowboy fan. I ain't gonna burn my stuff. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, what is going to make us believe that is a difference? And he don't have the right to get tired of talking about it. It's just kind of like the interception with Dak last year. Until you prove different, you're gonna get asked the same questions.
Right.
You're gonna get the same shit every time you step to the podium and you don't win. You're gonna get the same shit every time you step to the podium and you do win. So I don't want to hear next year that, can we talk about something else? Hell no, we can't talk about something else.
And I think that he gets that, man. I think he understands that.
Now he do, but when they wear his ass out, he ain't.
Yeah.
You know how the media can be.
Oh no, I definitely know that now.
Yeah, that they put that heat on you. When you deserve the heat, it's one thing when the media put heat on you and people are like, he don't deserve it. When you deserve it, yeah, you gonna get it. That's that pressure thing you was talking about earlier.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go through Mike McCarthy's press conference. He talked for 25 minutes, almost exactly, which makes me think that was the plan from the jump. You know what I mean? And here are the basic facts from it. He spent 3 hours talking to Jerry Jones the other day, meaning yesterday, which I guess in our world would be Wednesday. Spent 3 hours talking to Jerry Jones. For some of that time, I suppose, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume it was Steven was in there with him, because he made a point to say at a certain point it was just me and Jerry. And that's, he said, that's what I enjoy most, is talking to Jerry one-on-one. We have a great rapport. Jerry asks very tough questions, and, we get down to the nitty-gritty, so to speak. Dan Quinn will return if he doesn't get a head coaching job. Dan Quinn's defense has led the league in turnovers and points off turnovers the last 3 seasons. All right, that also came out of Mike McCarthy's news conference Thursday morning at the Star.
He gonna get the business too.
Yeah. He believes in Dak Prescott, who's coming off a career year of 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4,500 yards passing. Just had that meltdown in the playoffs. And it's not just, but it is what it is. That's what happened. I thought an interesting way to attack the press conference would be to tell y'all, here are the 4 most interesting things to me that came out of the press conference. Now, I will tell y'all this, and I tell this about everybody when sometimes I do some mentoring or some training on how to do podcasts. I got this from my radio show when me and Matt McLaren had a daily 4-hour radio show on ESPN radio in Dallas for about 4 years. Or we had it for 2 years. I was on there for 4. The show, this podcast, got my name on it. Big Joe and the Big Rig works very closely with me. He's a part of the show. But the show belonged to y'all. And here's what I mean. We talk about stuff y'all want to talk about. Most of the time. Now, we are going to talk. We are going to talk about some metrosexual stuff and some water bottles and some Waterloo from time to time.
I'm glad you fixed that.
But the show belongs to y'all, which means we ain't really going to talk about college basketball because y'all don't care about college basketball. Y'all, in general, y'all care about football, NFL, college, spring football, preseason football, training camp football, maybe some Mavericks, some Rangers, some Stars, and then some more football. So that's why we talk about football all the time. Now, the whole point of that is I don't really get down, and I heard a lot of questions about this today. I don't really get down with what fans think. I mean, I really don't. And I respect fans because I'm a fan of Ohio State as well as a graduate. But I respect fans of teams because of their emotional investment. But talking to coaches and players about what do you think about fans this and fans that, trust me, when they out there on the field, aside from you cheering or booing, they do not put any time into what fans think. They appreciate fans. They like their fans, but they're not driven by their fans, if that makes sense. And that's not a knock on y'all. What I'm saying is I'm including the question that he had about fans, and that's he had about fans for y'all. Because, let me tell you the truth. And I'm going to start with my man Richard on Twitter. Because I like Richard. Richard is one of the most consistent people on Twitter that I know. Richard Duncan. Sift_the_ashes. He's my guy. But Richard, I love you. But you're the most negative dude I know on Twitter. Everything is negative, 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 negative. This is what Richard had to say. Jerry would sacrifice a few semi-close... No, that's not the one I want. He had something else to say about the fan base, of which he's a part of. I'm looking forward if I can find... Okay. All these words, he said, like the annual Dak mea culpa, he talking to you, Joe, mean nothing to me. For the record, I love Dak, want to keep him. What will determine whether or not I invest any time into this shit show will be if they address the glaring issues in the offseason. Linebacker, defensive tackle, offensive line, wide receiver 2. And my whole point is, Richard, I love you. You are lying. You're going to be face first into the Cowboys as soon as training camp start, as soon as the draft is, because you love them even though it's a toxic relationship. I get that. All of that says, here is what Mike McCarthy said when asked about the fan base and why they should, I don't know, trust him, believe in him, think he can get the job done.
We have established a championship program. It's just not the world championship yet. We know how to win. We know how to train to win. We have the right people, but we have not crossed the threshold of winning playoff games. And it's extremely disappointing to be sitting here talking about it. But I know how to win, and we will get over that threshold. I have total confidence in it, and that's why I'm standing here today.
And then. Is that the one you wanted?
No.
Okay. Because you don't want me down with the bottle of glass and all of that other stuff. Hold on.
I'm not very comfortable talking about myself, but I came here to win a championship. I didn't come here to get another contract or anything other than that. I came to Dallas to win the world championship, and that's why I'm standing here and buy into us.
That's what he was talking about. No. Buy into us. Because I know how to, I'm here to win a championship.
All right.
So that is what it is. But that's why he thinks the fans should buy into him, even though there's a lot of them that see him and Dak and Dan Quinn as being the status quo. And the status quo has provided a lot of disappointment over the last 3 years. At one level. At the other level, you're 36-15. It's been a lot of high notes. But it hasn't resulted in a championship, and so I understand and I get the frustration that the fan base feels.
I think I had to jump in here just a second when you talk about the fan base and whether players care or not. The fan base mean everything, and the players should care, the coach should care, because while the team is bullshitting, the brand is still strong.
Let me
I got cowboy cups, cowboy shirt. I don't have no cowboy drawers. I got cowboy pajamas. I got all of that merch. I could light a fire from hell to breakfast with all the cowboy stuff that I got. But I'm still a Cowboy fan, so the brand is strong, even though the team drive you bunkers.
Right.
So I don't know about whether they care or not. They need the damn care.
No, you can, well, maybe I didn't word it right. You can care about the fan base, but the fan base you can't be answering to the fans, because fans are emotional and they want you to make emotional decisions. And, it's you can't, I guess what I'm saying is you can't cater to a fan base. You can appreciate your fans, but when people say, what about the fans and this and that, the fans don't really care. They want you to win. They don't care about anything else except, can you bring me a championship? Can you win games? Can you make me happy from that perspective? Now, there's some outlier fans, of course. There are in any fan base. But in general, fans want you to win. If you win, they're good. If you lose, they're not good. And
yeah.
Well, that's basically it. But you can't sit around and make decisions based on what your fan base thinks, because they're the fan base.
Okay,
they're not emotional. It's like it's like if you're a parent making decisions based on what your kids want.
Okay, I grew up in DFW. That makes me a Cowboy fan. That makes me a fan of a winning team. If the ass wasn't winning, I'd be a Seattle Seahawk fan or something. I'm just saying, it's go hand in hand, winning and all the rest of it. I don't know.
It does go hand in hand. That's why my dude is not a Cowboys fan. Well, I think he is, but I think he's so disillusioned that he has moved on to other teams.
Well, they haven't won anything since he's been around.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, he told me he was a San Francisco fan. I said, how you gonna be a San Francisco fan? I play with them on Madden, and they like to run the ball, so that's why I became a San Francisco fan.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. If he came up where they won the Super Bowl in the 70s and the 90s, maybe he would
right.
be that.
But I think he might be a little bit one, because he sent me a text the other day, literally yesterday, talking about, hey, what's up with Dak's contract? Is he coming back?
Yeah.
So that made me think he cared more than he wants to let on. Maybe he hurt by it all, and he don't want to let on. But I did that for y'all. I did that for the fans. That's what Mike McCarthy had to say for the fans. To me, one of the most interesting things he said, and that's what we're talking about right now, is, and I'm paraphrasing here, he said, the weight of 28 years isn't the responsibility of me, and it isn't the responsibility of this team.
What?
Well, he's talking about...
What?
What you mean?
I'm saying, what the hell is he talking about?
What he's saying is, we getting hammered. I'm paraphrasing from Mike McCarthy. He's saying we getting hammered because Cowboys haven't been to the championship game in 28 years. That's not me. That ain't my responsibility. My responsibility is these last 4 years. And I get that, because I say this to a lot of people, and I realize, I hear that in you, and we can talk about it. Like the fan, if you dating somebody and you starting to go down that you've been dating for a minute, and you like, I think I love this person. You're not for the last 6 dudes she dated that wasn't worth a damn. Or if you dating a guy, you're not responsible for the last 6 dudes he dated, last 6 women he dated that weren't worth a damn. I'm bringing you this. This is me. I'm not responsible for them previous relationships. And so, even though you traumatized from them. And so Mike McCarthy is saying, I understand that you traumatized from these last 28 years of losing. I'm only responsible for 4.
Okay.
Or 3 of not getting you to the Super Bowl or the championship game.
I like that analogy.
Right.
If 6 guys unpromised to marry your raggedy ass for 20 years, and I come along and say, I'm going to marry you. Right. In the last 4 years I haven't, there you go. Now I ain't, you still ain't putting no ring on it. You understand? You still ain't got no ring. I ain't got no ring from them guys beforehand, and I ain't got no ring from your ass. So I don't want to hear that. You understand? You still ain't put a ring on it. See how I twist that damn analogy?
Yeah,
right? I spun that shit.
Even though I bought you a car,
I don't care. I want a
put
ring.
It down payment so you had a house.
I want to be married. I want the ring.
I didn't abstain from the coochie.
Whatever.
And told you we wasn't doing that till we get married.
I ain't saying all that. I ain't abstaining from nothing. But I'm just saying, he talking about you can go ahead. You can't be saying I came here to win championships and all that, but I ain't won no championship and I'm not responsible. I don't want to hear that 28 years ago. Hey, you promised us a championship when you got here. Talking about you watch film in the basement and all that. Your lying ass.
But I think, but here's the deal. And we're going to get to that in just a second. But I think what happens is, and I think Dak spoke about it, even though maybe he shouldn't have, but I admired his honesty.
Go home.
And I appreciated it.
He done for the year. Go home.
Well, Dak didn't talk today, but I'm talking about.
I'm just saying. I'm tired of that. Go ahead.
I think there's some. I think they played the other day, and I didn't realize it until I watched the performance. They played the other day like they feel the weight of the 28 years since Cowboys been in the championship game. Like they feel the pressure. They played tight. They played nervous. They didn't play fast. And so to me, what they got to do, and I didn't really realize this again, is they have to actually deal with what we're talking about. They just can't ignore it. They got to deal with the fact that they feel some pressure, whether it's just Dak or whether it's the starters or whether it's only a certain few guys. But they got to deal with that, man. And then they got to embrace that pressure. And then they got to fight through it and excel through it. Nobody said it was easy. Winning championships ain't easy. But, you know, other teams have done it. And what I mean is, and it'd be interesting to go back and look. Like when Green Bay won in 96, you know, they hadn't won since the first Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that team was facing what? We ain't won in 30 years. Ain't nobody done nothing for us. Brett Favre, you and your team need to go get it done.
Nobody expected them to beat Bill Parcells and the Patriots. Nobody expected that. I'm just saying they was playing with house money. They didn't have no wide receivers. They had Don Beebe. What's your boy from Michigan?
I don't know nobody from Michigan.
Yeah, you do. They played Desmond Howard. They played 3 tight ends, Mark Chmura, Keith Jackson, and somebody else. They had all of that stuff, and nobody expected them to beat the Patriots. And Parcells was already celebrating a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and they got their ass kicked. So they was playing with house money. Ain't no pressure. Wasn't no pressure on Green Bay.
The pressure was in them getting there because they hadn't done anything in 30 years. But the point of it is, you know, the Cubs hadn't done anything in 100 years when they won it. The Red Sox, when they won it, hadn't done anything in, you know, decades. So other teams have fought through this pressure where other teams before us haven't gotten it done. Yeah. And that's what this team is going to have to do.
I guess. They sure as hell going to have it this year. They shouldn't have had no pressure the other day.
I think we talked about this once. And I can't remember what it was related to. Wasn't necessarily related to sports. You know, people put pressure on themselves whether they should have it or shouldn't have it, depending on who you are. And so you can say they shouldn't have had no pressure, but they certainly played like they did. And, you know, people internalize different things in different ways. And if you don't know how to handle it or you can't handle it, it's, you know, especially when the other team got off to a fast start. Like, they might not have felt no pressure until Green Bay went up 7-0. And then it was like, oh, snap.
I think 14. You know what I mean? I think the 14 doesn't probably did that. Yeah, I would think you feeling some stress then. But you coming into the game stressed? Probably not, you know. I don't know how far we going down the rabbit hole because I'm fired up about that pressure stuff. I don't know. I mean,
it all affects different people different ways. Well, some teams feel it, some players feel it, some teams don't, some players don't. And I think it's such an individual thing. It's just hard to say because you can poo-poo it, but clearly it's there. That's why some people can perform under pressure and some people can't.
All right.
You think?
Nah, I think that's what the regular season is for. You had all your stuff. They had everything defined. You had your pecking order. You had your running game and what you got. You had your pecking order amongst the receivers. Everything set up. You got you got the home game. You got all of that. Where is the pressure? They just dropped the ball and they changed up a lot of stuff. If you want to say somebody was under pressure, it might have been Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn since they. I was
just finna get there. Pressure make you change what you've done all year.
That's right. Make you change up everything, and then as
pressure
a player,
make you overthink.
Yeah, as a player, you got to go with that. Why we running 3 tight ends? Why we running Tony twice in a row? We got the third down so damn fast in that game. I was just like, what are they doing?
That's what I'm talking.
What are they doing? So I don't know. If one home game against an opponent that we thought was inferior, if that's got pressure on you, you need to get another job.
It could be. Maybe some of those cats won't be here. That's something that they got to deal with because now it's the weight of 29 years.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? It's not going to get no easier because I firmly believe Detroit is going to the NFC Championship game this year, which means the longest droughts in the NFC will belong to Washington, 1991, and Dallas, 1995. So the pressure is only going to intense, so you must figure out how to handle it and how to deal with it.
I have read somewhere today that Green Bay has more playoff wins in the Cowboys Stadium than they do.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That's crazy. But whatever. I mean, if that type of pressure bust the pipe for them, man, they ain't built right.
They might not be.
Yeah.
We'll find out We'll find out a lot about them this year,
especially since they're running it back.
Yes, sir.
Nothing create pressure like people thinking your ass ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
I got a question for you. How much money does Jerry? Well, let me phrase this right. You got teams that owe coaches money. You know, some people got $30 million that they owe coaches that they fired. I don't think Jerry owed anybody money, or maybe Wade, right?
No, I don't have no money.
Well, I'm just saying he usually don't fire guys with years left on their contract.
Right.
So that's one of the things I thought about with McCarthy that might keep him here. Jerry usually don't leave a guy. You know, when he fires a guy, he usually don't owe anybody money. Right.
It was like Jason Garrett contract just ran out.
Yeah.
Let's move on to this to the third thing that interested me at the press conference, and let's run that first quote back one more time, man.
It's number one.
Yeah.
I'm not very comfortable talking about myself, but I came here to win a championship. I didn't come here to get another contract or anything other than that. I came to Dallas to win the world championship, and that's why I'm standing here and buy into us.
No, I'm sorry. The other one.
Oh, we're going to get it together.
But my message would be this: we have established a championship program. It's just not the world championship yet. We know how to win. We know how to train to win. We have the right people, but we have not crossed the threshold of winning playoff games. And it's extremely disappointing to be sitting here talking about it. But I know how to win, and we will get over that threshold. I have total confidence in it, and that's why I'm standing here today.
And then, all right, see, that's interesting to me. I know how to win. Now, Stephen A. Smith came out and made fun of that. He said, "You know how to win? What's he talking about? He got one Super Bowl in 17 years." And while I'm not trying to get no pissing match with Stephen A., because one, I can't win that pissing match.
No, he gonna overtalk you, and he loud.
Right.
And he ugly too.
I ain't going all that.
Yeah, he ugly as hell.
What I will say is that we're not finna judge whether you can win or not by how many Super Bowl wins you have. Because Tom Landry, one of the greatest coaches ever, got 2 in 30 years. Some other terrific coaches have 1 or 2 in multiple years. Mm-hmm. And so that's not really the way you judge coaches. That's a part of it, but that's not the end-all, be-all. I think to me, you judge a guy whether he can win by, number one, winning percentage once you've coached a certain amount. And 2, how many times you've been to the playoffs? Because once you get to the playoffs, that gives you an opportunity to win. So if you look at Mike McCarthy, he got 11 10-win seasons. He got 5 12-win seasons. He got 8 division titles. He's been to the playoffs quite a bit. He won 1 Super Bowl. But he'd been in position to win several. So I think he knows how to win. I can live with that statement. I'm curious to this because it rolls down to, I think the reason they kept him is multifaceted, but I think one thing that played a role in it, and I'm curious to hear your take on it, is what is your take on process versus results? Are you a results-oriented person or a process-oriented person? And obviously, there's a little bit of overlap in a conversation like it.
I'm more of a result-oriented person. It depends on what you're doing. If you are, I'm going to give you an example that I used to talk to the North Crowley basketball coach, Coach Brackle. And he used to talk about, he won championships over there. And he used to talk about how coaches coach guys to dribble a certain way and to pass the ball with two hands. He said, I don't care if you come up to court and you hit that thing off your forehead, as long as it goes in the post. When I say go in the post, I don't care, as long as we get two.
Right.
I kind of like that. And that's basketball. But and football, no. You know, it's a little different because when you run a route, you got to set up your timing with the other guy. You can't go this way, that way. You got to let him know what you're doing. So it's it depends on what I'm doing.
All right. Typically, I'm much more of a process person than a result person. And here's why. In general, you can get a good result from a flawed process. You can get a bad result from a great process. But over a period of time, a great process should lead and should yield great results. Over a period of time, more consistently, if you have a great process, you will have a great result. If you have a flawed process consistently over time, your result will get less and less desirable, I believe. And so I'm about a process. And so if I look at Mike McCarthy from that standpoint, the result has not been what you want at the end of the year. The process appears to be good. That's why you keep ending up with 12-5. Now, what has to happen is the process clearly is not perfect because the result is not the desired result. And so I think you got to tweak the process. Maybe the tweak is bigger linebackers, bigger defensive tackles. Maybe the tweak is more outside zone. But what I'm saying is you can tweak the process and get to a better result. If the process was yielding you 5-11, 5-11, 5-11, you'd say, you know what? This process is so bad. Let's start over with somebody else. And so that's why I think Mike McCarthy has a shot, because his process is good.
Okay. I get it.
Yes.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, his process was good in Green Bay. And then it got to a point where it wasn't as good. And so I think he can have success. Now, again, it's not a perfect process because the result is not what you want. And so you have to tweak the process. And we'll see if he can tweak it. And if not, he's probably not going to get another chance to enhance his process in Dallas. He'll have to go somewhere else and do it. But, so that's why I buy into it when he says he knows how to win. Now it's, can you tweak your process and get the desired result? And we'll see, a few months from now when it starts all over, whether he can make that happen.
I don't know why everybody thinks we need to get bigger up front. I don't know why everybody thinks that. I think that's because they got you didn't call them little ass. No, the middle, the second, the linebackers are little. See, right. you can have Hankins, you can have Mozzie Smith, you can have all that, but them guys are gonna tie up blocks. They're not gonna necessarily plug the hole. If you get to the linebackers, you can't play those safeties like that. I didn't want to say nothing to our guest today because y'all all keep saying that the boy was a big disappointment, but how many defensive tackles land in this league and just start dominating? And then another thing, the biggest thing you underestimate in the NFL is strength and technique. You got to learn that, especially in the trenches. So I wouldn't give up on Mozzie Smith. Plus, if we don't get linebackers, this is going to be the same song. That's just, that's the problem with me to the whole defense right there is linebacker.
I think, I think that's what I said. They got to get bigger.
I know, but I'm just saying, y'all keep talking about the defensive line, and I thought the defensive line was good, in my opinion. But once you get to the second level, it's gone. That's your ass right there. So that's just my take. But I know I'm going down. I'm going on the exit ramp. Go ahead. Yeah, there's plenty. We got plenty. Unfortunately, we got plenty of weeks to talk about the exit ramps to go down. Yeah, for
coming
real.
up. So we'll see about that in terms of process. Last thing I want to talk about in terms of things that interested me at Mike McCarthy's press conference, there were 4 of them, is the CD conversation. So I believe Clarence asked a question about CD, and Mike said, now, again, this is what he said, so you take it for whatever it's worth. He said, I thought we were mentally ready to play. I went over and talked to CD. It was about an option route we were running and a concept, and I wanted to make sure him and Dak were on the same page, so I went over there to talk to him about it. That's what he said the conversation with CD was about. Now, maybe he's had those conversations other times during the season, and the cameras just didn't catch him on it. I will say this. CD was one of the big disappointments in the game for a guy who'd been terrific most of the season. He just seemed like he was in a funk right away. A couple passes we've seen him catch normally, he didn't catch when they really could have used him early in the game.
First drive attitude.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, first drive.
And a lot of people have picked up on this, where Jair Alexander shoved him in the back and pushed him about 2 yards, and he didn't respond to nothing. What all that means, I don't know what it means, man. All I know is he been great for the last 3 months of the season, and he was just a dude on Sunday. Like, I don't care about his 9 for 99 on Sunday, because this is one of the few times they were basically inconsequential.
Yep.
Now, I will say somebody was getting on him. Several people have gotten on him because he was celebrating after some catch, doing his slime maneuver, dance, or celebration, whatever he does. And they're like, "You doing that? We down 27-7." And my point on that was I remember when he did it, and he had caught 2 or 3 passes in a little stretch, and I didn't take it that way. I took it to be like, okay, I'm finally feeling back to myself. Maybe now I could get in the groove, make some plays, and win. The thing about some things, okay, is you never know what guys are doing to get themselves going. Whether it's playing football, whether it's at the gym, whether it's whatever you're doing, what is required to get you going so that you feel good about what you're doing. For me, like when I'm at the gym, I have a certain playlist, and I've set the playlist up, I think, so that I sprinkle some of my favorite songs like at 17 minutes where I might be getting tired for the first time in a workout, or at 40 minutes because the workout's almost over and I want to hear one of my favorite songs to give me a little boost as I go to the end. And, I might start, bobbing my head a little bit and feeling good. And somebody could look at me like, look at this fool over here. Well, that's just what I need at that particular time to get myself going because I'm dragging. And so that's how I look at different celebrations for people, because you never know what's the one that sets you off. I remember when Jacksonville was losing 27-0 to the Chargers, and they were still down 27-14, and the dude celebrated the touchdown. Well, you could say, look at you celebrating. Y'all down 27-0, man. You still 2 touchdowns down. This third quarter, second half. Get your ass over there to the sideline. Well, that was him getting going. So I always try to look at it from a couple different perspectives, unless it's something Mark Walker is doing.
Who the hell is Mark Walker?
Hey, man, that's the dude I was fighting that led me to in-school suspension.
Oh, the little bitty dude?
Yeah.
The little bitty dude that scratched
okay,
your
he wasn't up. That little, man.
You already said he was little.
I just said he was a little slim dude.
Said he was little.
With a big head. Yeah, looked like a Pez container.
You was punching below your weight class. I know what you're saying about the dude get going, but whatever. He didn't show up.
No, he didn't show up, and
you wait too late to do all that slime stuff. How about you ball out from the beginning? I don't got no time for that. It's rituals that you do to get you going in a game to make you not lose your mind like that. For me, it was I wanted to be the last person to walk out the locker room.
Why?
Because it was just I'm turning off the lights. We getting busy. It was me and this guy I played with named Drake. He was a starting corner, and we would get dressed, and everybody would get dressed, and we'd sit. The shower wasn't on, but we'd sit in there and talk. And that's how I found out his wife was having triplets. But anyway, we sit in there and talk, and then once this is playing semi-pro. Once everybody's out the locker room, we turn them lights off. We finna kick y'all ass. After that first hit, I was ready to go, but it took that first hit. First time you pop a guard, or a guard try to pop you, and you get in that car wreck that the Cowboy linebackers don't get into.
Right.
It's on. and you playing and you in the moment and you got to stay in the moment. That's one of the things I thought when Coach walked over and started talking to CD. I go, damn, he checking out already. And that's what I was trying to say the other day. He might have looked at the coverage and the type of defense and go, these guys bracketing me. They doing this. Jack ain't gonna even be able to find me today. We don't have anything to counter that because they didn't do anything to counter that.
Yeah.
By the time CD started dancing and shit, they had already changed the defense and taken players out the game.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
Well,
on my nerve.
They got to figure out CD. Because he played so well, all pro. Contract is up. He gonna get about 28, 30 million.
Okay.
He might get to 30 this year. Because Tyreek Hill is the league's highest paid receiver at 30 million. CD matched his stats this year, and he's younger. So he may actually get 31. So he's going to get paid, but what happens is you got to figure out how to unlock him emotionally because you can't have him checking out like he did early in the season or like he did in the most important game.
In the most important game. That's when Coach go over and talk to you like that, it lets everybody know in the whole world that your ass is checking out. And when Coach go over and talk to you, like the kind of conversation they was having, that's where I felt like, damn, is he that fragile? I guess so.
Yeah.
It's already checking out,
Well, that was the 4 things I found most interesting in Mike McCarthy's press conference. What he thought about the fans, why they should buy in, how he didn't think the weight of 28 years of not getting to the championship game was a responsibility of him or the players, how he does know how to win, he's got confidence in himself, and what the hell was wrong with CD. At least there's a little bit of explanation whether you buy it or not. Joe asked me the other day, what do we do now that football season's over? And I told him, just like I'm telling y'all, football season don't never end. It really don't. You got your Senior Bowl at the end of January. You got the Combine in February. You got free agency in March. You got the draft in April. You got mini camps in May and the first part of June. Then you got about 6 weeks off when we all take a vacation, at least a little bit, and before the start of training camp in July. Do that sound like anybody's taking any time off?
No, that's fine by me. That's fine by me.
So we're going to, we'll add in a little bit of Mavericks. We'll add in a little bit of Rangers. This is a baseball town now. We'll continue to talk about the things that bring me joy, all the metrosexual stuff. And we'll even add some stuff Joe like to talk about.
One day.
You can send me a text anytime, man.
Yeah. It won't be no glass water bottles or no Costco.
Maybe we'll talk about a laser on a rifle for you. A red
I don't use scopes. I'm an iron sights guy.
Me too. I'm an iron sights guy.
You ain't no iron sights guy. What is iron sight? That's the stick shift. That's the stick shift of AR-15.
I like shell catchers on my gats, man.
I don't even whatever, dog. Somebody think they John Wick. I don't know.
No, I heard that on a Nelly song.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, we always appreciate Green and Law for making this possible and sponsoring the show, along with my brothers at Smokey John's Barbecue. For Big Joe and the Big Rig, we appreciate you guys listening. Until we chat again, you guys be blessed.